Hi, my name is Falso Saavedra. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, infantry MOS, and was medically retired in 2017. I currently reside in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I work as a design intern at a design company, as well as a full-time student here at UNLV. Both my parents are originally from Mexico. They were married at a young age, and they also became pregnant at a young age. Around this point, they decided that the best decision for their future family would be to move over here to the United States. My dad crossed illegally first, and after a few months, he saved enough money by working odd jobs to have enough to send for my mom to cross over illegally as well. She crossed over when she was about 5 to 6 months pregnant, and it was a long, treacherous journey, but she was able to survive and make it over. At this point, a few years later, they had me 2 years later, and then 2 years after that, they had my little brother. And at this point, we were in Chicago, Illinois. Eventually, my parents decided to move to California in hopes of finding better opportunities in terms of money. Unfortunately, we couldn't fly out there due to their legal status, so we did have to do a cross-country road trip, with a truck full of kids. It was a long, boring trip, but we ended up making it to California. Once we were in California, we actually were situated in a garage with 4 other families. It was divided into quadrants using curtains, and we lived like this for a few years. My dad actually started working with uncles in the landscaping field, where he learned a lot about landscaping, the ins and outs. After a certain amount of time, we were able to upgrade from living in a garage to a room. And with time, my mom and my dad actually decided that they knew enough to start their own business, buying used equipment and starting their own little venture. At this point, after a certain amount of years, we were able to get our own home and just kind of finally have our own place, call our own home. It's now been 20 years, and my father's business continues to grow till this day. Started off with a few houses a week. It's now hundreds of houses a week. At the same time, our lifestyle became to change at that point. We were able to have birthday parties. We were able to go out and eat, have better food, and our lifestyle definitely went up, and it changed. It was better. At this point, the stress of a business and just a young marriage actually started to take a toll on my parents' marriage, and they ended up separating, and this is where my mother decided to move from California to Las Vegas to start a new life as a single mother. She worked hard to provide a roof over our heads. At this point, we were living with my aunt in her living room, and we were able to survive through my mom's hard work and her work ethic. And at the end of the day, she tried her best to give us the best life she could, with the little money she had. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to work any good jobs or anything that gave her benefits due to her legal status. And at this point, we were moving schools frequently due to our inability to have something stable. By the time I was 13, I had already been to 4 different middle schools. It was stressful. It wasn't a good learning environment. I was always thinking about, when are we going to leave, how long am I going to be here, how long am I going to have these friends. And it was a little traumatic experience, not just for me, but for my little brother as well at this point. My older brother actually enlisted in the Army, and my mom was against it, I was against it, and we thought the worst, that he was going to die, that he was going to be sent to war. We were kind of ignorant at that point, but he did join, and he went off to basic training, where he joined as a 92 Foxtrot, small arms weapons repair. We saw a big change in him, and I looked up to my brother from that point on. At this point, just seeing my brother's change, it made me think about the military, and I started talking to an Army recruiter as well. I had told my mom about my idea, but she was against it as well. And so I tried to convince her by telling her I would not go infantry, which she knew what infantry was at the point. And I was able to enlist or start the enlistment process as a 35 Foxtrot, which is an intel analyst, non-combat MOS. At this point, my mom was okay with it, and we started the process for me to enlist. The next step in my enlistment process was to go to MEPS and actually start finalizing all the paperwork and start my entrance into the U.S. Army. At this point, I actually got a wake-up call when starting the process for 35 Fox. I was told that I needed a top secret security clearance, and this would jeopardize my family due to their legal status here in the U.S. It required an intense background check that would actually put them in jeopardy because of that. At this point, I talked to the recruitment officer, and I told him I could not go through with it. I could not put my family in jeopardy. So he gave me options and asked me what else I wanted to do in the Army, or what would be something I would enjoy to do. And I actually told him that infantry was actually my top choice, but I wasn't able to get a slot from the beginning, and my mother also didn't agree on it. After talking to the officer, I was able to finally, he made a phone call. At the end of the day, he made a phone call and was able to get me an infantry slot. And I was at that point enlisted as a U.S. infantry soldier. And the hard part was going to be going home and explaining to my mom what I had just done and trying to get her approval at this point. Once I told her, she was very upset at the beginning, but she calmed down and supported me after I told her that everything's going to be fine. About a year into my contract, my mom gave me a call and told me about a program called Military Parole in Place that would give her a legal status here in the U.S. Because of my military service. For me, there was no hesitation because, this is something I had wanted for my mom for years, and that was one of my main goals after, joining the military. Helping my mom get her legal status was always one of my biggest goals, but I just never knew where to start. I feel like this is something common in the military for service members who are in my same shoes and are going through the same problem with their families and their legal status. My mother told me about American Liberty Law Group and attorney William Marvin, who's a retired lieutenant colonel in the Marines. She told me about this program and how it helped families that were stuck in similar situations as us. She also explained that William Marvin was actually very passionate in helping people like us, and in a sense I trusted him because he had been in my shoes and he was actually a soldier like I was. We decided to start the process with the American Liberty Law Group, and unfortunately the paperwork was kicked back by our local immigration office. Fortunately, they did not know what to do with the paperwork since we were the first military parole in place in Las Vegas. The attorney actually returned the paperwork to the immigration office and explained to them what the program was about and how it worked. Once they realized what the paperwork was, they were able to accommodate my mother and in a sense rolled the red carpet out for her. The process was fairly quick and inexpensive. I was actually surprised how quick it was. I was glad that we were able to, get all this paperwork done and finally get my mom her legal status. At this point, she didn't have to hide in the shadows anymore. And we were very grateful for this program and what it's given my mom and our family at the end of the day. And we're also very thankful for American Liberty Law Group for guiding us through this process and showing us that it wasn't going to be as painful as we thought it was. My mom is now a permanent resident and will be able to apply for citizenship soon. And it's been a blessing. It's opened doors not only for her, but for us. And it wouldn't have been possible without the program Military Parole in Place. This whole process has made my mom very patriotic and very proud. And she's seen what the military has done, not only for me, but my older brother. We both continue to grow, and the military has molded us into strong, responsible men. The biggest payoff for me from being in the military and serving my country was just being able to do that for my country and be able to return to a country that's provided so much, not only for me, but for my family. Being able to get my mom her legal status was, well worth it, but the other benefits I've received since have been being able to go to school full time to pursue a degree that I enjoy, being able to purchase a home at 21, thanks to the steady income that I had, and overall just being able to, live the American dream. We went from living in a garage to being homeowners, and that's been a big jump and a great blessing to us. This couldn't have been done without the benefits that the military offers its service members, and overall it's just been a great experience for me and my family and a great blessing.